To bring your bobbin thread up to the top of the fabric before you start quilting, press the needle up down button, and if you go ahead and hold that down, it will do a full revolution. If you don't, and I'm going to go ahead and pull that up and show you again, and you can see here that I have two different color threads. I have a pink, a hot pink, and I have an orange. Now I'm doing this for the demonstration, but I wouldn't recommend that you do that. You always want to have the same color thread on top and the bottom in your bobbin area. But I've got that today so you can kind of see the difference in how each one works. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do that again, and I'm going to now just press the up-down button once and then press it again. And so it brings that up. Another way you can do that is to actually press the up-down button and hold it down until it does that full roll and comes out of the fabric. So if I press it and hold it, it goes down without having to double tap on your button. Okay, so I've got my bobbin thread, and I'm going to go ahead and bring that up. Then with my thumb, my right thumb on my up-down button, I'm going to hold that button down and just do a rocking motion back and forth to do a tie-off. I can either do a back and forth, or I could do a little tiny stitches forward so that locks that in, and you can see how tight that is. Now let's try that again. We're going to bring our bobbin thread to the top of the fabric. So with my left hand, I'm holding on to the top thread. I'm going to press the up-down button, and now holding onto this thread here, I'm going to move the machine aside, and you can see that bobbin thread. I can now just pull that up, holding that together, move my machine back. I like to put my finger right here, and it helps stabilize that hopping foot so it doesn't go away from me. Then as I press the needle up down button on my left handlebar, I am going to just walk that along, and it gives me some really tiny micro stitches. Once you're finished with your quilting, you'll want to do a tie-off here right at the base of where your fabric, or where the thread's coming out of your fabric. And so I will move my right hand to my left handle, press the needle up and down, and I like to put my finger right there, and it helps stabilize where I'm going. Little tiny tie-offs. Now some people like to do a tie-off that wiggles back and forth, so it just goes over the top of that. It's kind of a preference. So, but I've got that tied off, and you can kind of see a really strong knot there. But if you just do your little tiny walking, it'll not create that knot, but it'll tie it off and anchor that in real tight. Okay, now I'm going to bring my thread or my needle up. I'm going to move the machine aside, and with my right hand, or with my left hand, I am going to grab a hold of my top thread, come back and drop my needle down into the fabric and bring it back out again, and it caught that bobbin thread. You can see that orange thread. Normally we would match our thread colors, but I'm doing this so you can see the difference. There's that thread. That's my bobbin thread. Now I'm going to move my machine aside, and then you can do this a couple of ways. Some people like to actually split the thread and clip off the one that's right at the base of the fabric, and you'll catch two threads and clip those off. Other people will like to just snip that just like that, and then you have this little loop here that you can discard. Okay, let's try that again. I finished quilting and I need to tie off. So I'm going to move my right hand to my left handle, put my finger right down there, and this helps keep this anchored or keeps it stable, and I'm going to do some tiny stitches. Okay, now I can go ahead, move my machine aside, and pull up this top thread, come back into that hole that I finished stitching, needle up, needle down, needle up, and then I can move that aside, and you can see that orange thread, which is the bobbin thread, and from there I can clip those threads. Now, third time's the charm. So let's go ahead and stitch again. Finish. Bring my right hand over to my left handle. Needle down and up, and just do some tiny, tiny basting, or not basting, but tacking stitches. And then move the machine aside, grab a hold of the thread, come back, needle down in that same hole, bring up my bobbin thread, and there we go. Now, if we want to separate those, you find the thread that is right against. Now, this is coming out of the bobbin. This is the one that we want to clip. So we'll want to clip that one, and we'll want to clip the pink thread. Now, this tail is actually coming directly from the bobbin case, and so I can move the bobbin case aside, and that will come out and be ready for me. It'll give me a long tail to bring up when I go quilt the next design.